The vanilla buttercream on my grocery store birthday cake melts under the flickering fluorescent light of my apartment kitchen. $2,000 sits ready in my banking app, another monthly rent payment from my parents. The stark numbers mock me from my phone screen while I stare at my reflection in the scratched countertop. A soft chime breaks the silence. My throat tightens as I open the family group chat. The message from Mom floats between old conversations about utility bills and car payments. "No one's coming to your party, grow up." The words blur before snapping back into focus. I read them again, remembering the careful way I'd phrased the invitation. "Come celebrate if you can. No pressure. No gifts needed." My thumb hovers over the keyboard. The cursor blinks, waiting. I type a single word. Understood. The banking app glows as I switch screens. My finger traces the familiar path to the scheduled payment section. 4 years of temporary support flash through my mind. Dad's minor heart scare that launched 1,000 guilt trips, Lucas promising to find work any day now. Mom's voice growing colder with each request granted. The cancel button pulses red. My hand doesn't shake as I press it. Cancel scheduled payment of $2,000 to Walter Morgan? I tap, confirm. The kitchen feels different suddenly, like the air has shifted. My shabby apartment with its peeling linoleum and temperamental AC unit represents every sacrifice I've made, every dream postponed, every boundary crossed. 4 years ago, I sat in the hospital waiting room while Dad recovered from what turned out to be indigestion, not a heart attack. Mom wrung her hands, whispered about mortgage payments and medical bills. Lucas paced, his university tuition notices crumpled in his pocket. "Just until things stabilize," Dad had said, his voice weak but his eyes sharp. "You're doing so well in your career, honey. We're so proud." That pride grew with each request. Cell phone bills, car insurance, property taxes. The universe of their needs expanded while my world shrank to fit inside my one-bedroom apartment. My recent promotion to IT support coordinator earned celebrations, not for the achievement, but for the salary bump. Mom's eyes lit up as she calculated the additional dollars. Dad patted my shoulder, already planning upgrades to his golf club membership. My laptop whirs to life as I pull up the Excel spreadsheet tracking 4 years of family support. The numbers march down the screen in neat rows: $2,000 monthly rent, $489 car payment for the SUV Lucas drives, $378 phone bill for 4 lines, countless emergency expenses. The total at the bottom stretches past $130,000. The practical birthday gifts I bought myself this morning sit in their Target bag on the counter. 3 pairs of black socks, shampoo, a new phone charger to replace the fraying one. The same items I've gifted myself every year while paying for Lucas's spring break trips and Mom's latest kitchen renovation. My phone buzzes again. The family chat is filled with new messages. "Lucas, should we get her a toilet brush too, Poi?" Dad, "Ha ha ha." Mom, "She loves those practical gifts." The laughter emojis pile up like stones. My face remains smooth as I open my laptop's file manager and create a new folder. I label it "Records" in capital letters that feel like a declaration of war. The methodical clicking of my mouse fills the silence as I begin canceling auto payments. Credit cards, utility accounts, car insurance. Each confirmation screen glows with possibility. The cake sits forgotten, frosting soft and melting. I cut a single precise slice and place it on a paper towel. No need to dirty a plate I'll have to wash. The first bite tastes like freedom. My phone lights up with the first panicked text from Mom, then another from Dad, 3 from Lucas in rapid succession. I turn the phone face down and take another bite of cake. Sometimes the most expensive gift you can give yourself is the word no. Tomorrow they'll discover what happens when their backup plan develops a backbone. Tomorrow there will be tears and threats and guilt-soaked voicemails. But tonight? Tonight I eat my cake in peaceful silence, planning my next move. After 4 years of saying yes, I finally remembered how to use the word they fear most. No. In my darkened kitchen, I smile. It turns out 30 is the perfect age to grow up after all. 2 weeks later, the bank statements spread across my coffee table like fallen autumn leaves. Each page rustles with the weight of betrayal as I highlight another unauthorized withdrawal. $200 at the mall, $400 at a car dealership, $800 marked as emergency funds that coincided perfectly with Lucas's spring break trip to Florida. My brother's Instagram story from that week still burns in my mind. Tanned bodies on white sand, bottles of premium vodka glinting in the sun, the keys to my SUV dangling from his fingers as he posed with his friends. Living the good life, the caption read. The timestamp matched the emergency withdrawal to the hour. The financial advisor across from me adjusts his wire-rimmed glasses. Miss Morgan, these transactions show a clear pattern of exploitation. He taps the stack of highlighted statements. And this loan application, the signature doesn't match your other documents. My hands remain steady as I examine the paper. The forgery is almost perfect. They'd clearly practiced. The loop of the J curves exactly the way I wrote it in high school, before I simplified my signature in college. Only my mother would remember that detail. The application is dated the 24th of November. My voice sounds distant to my own ears. Thanksgiving Day. The memory surfaces like a bruise being pressed. Me, driving 6 hours through sleet to surprise them for the holiday. The trunk loaded with groceries I'd spent a week's worth of lunches budgeting for. My childhood bedroom door locked. Lucas's girlfriend's laughter floating through the wall while I made up the living room couch with sheets that smelled like mothballs. Dad's wine-soaked toast still echoes. To the breadwinner who can't keep a boyfriend but pays all the bills. The table's laughter. Mom's hand patting my knee under the tablecloth. He's just teasing, honey, you know how he gets. Now I know what they were celebrating. While I slept on that musty couch, they were counting on my signature on a $30,000 loan. My signature, forged with the precision of someone who'd been studying it for years. We should contact the authorities, the financial advisor says, his pen hovering over his legal pad. This constitutes fraud. My phone buzzes. A text from Lucas. Hey sis, need help with car insurance. Due tomorrow. Call me? I silence the phone and pull up the folder on my laptop labeled Records. Inside, subfolders branch like a family tree of financial abuse. Credit card statements, utility bills, screenshots of text messages, the latest edition, a recording from last week, Mom's voice rising in pitch as she berated me for questioning a suspicious charge. You ungrateful little, after everything we've done for you. Your father could have died from that heart problem. Is that what you wanted? A throat clearing pulls me back. The financial advisor watches me with careful eyes. Miss Morgan, should I contact the fraud department? The sun slants through my apartment windows, catching the dust motes swirling above my evidence pile. 4 years of documents. 4 years of temporary support that built a prison of guilt and obligation, brick by brick. My phone lights up again. A message from an unknown number, Lucas's girlfriend. Family loyalty goes both ways. Think about what you're doing. Family loyalty. Like making me sleep on the couch in my own childhood home. Like forging my signature while I bought their Thanksgiving turkey. I open my email and find the message from my boss, approving the emergency leave I requested. 1 week to untangle myself from their web of financial manipulation. 1 week to build a fortress of evidence before the confrontation I know is coming. The next text comes from Dad. Princess, your mother's crying. Call us, now. Princess. He only calls me that when he wants money. I turn to the financial advisor. No police. My voice comes out stronger than I expect. Not yet, but I need every document related to that forged loan, every email. Every piece of evidence that shows what they did. He nods, understanding sliding across his features. Documentation is often more powerful than prosecution, especially with family. Family. The word sits bitter on my tongue as I pull up the joint account statements. The one I opened for emergencies that somehow became their personal ATM. Each withdrawal marked with their casual disregard, gas station snacks, movie tickets, restaurant bills that could have covered my own groceries for a week. 2 days later, a knock at my door sends my heart racing. Through the peephole, I see Mom's floral blouse, her hands twisted together in that familiar pose of manufactured distress. The door's security chain gleams like a lifeline. I step back silently, my sock feet making no sound on the carpet. On my coffee table, The evidence of their betrayal guards me like a paper army. My phone buzzes again with Dad's message. Your mother's outside your door. Don't be childish. Let her in. Childish. Like their jokes about my Amazon wish list full of socks and shampoo. Like Lucas's cry-laughing emojis when Mom texted that no one was coming to my birthday. My laptop screen glows as I create a new folder. I label it Truth with steady fingers. The first file I save is the recording of Mom's last tirade. The second is the forged loan application. The third is a screenshot of Lucas's Florida photos next to the emergency withdrawal receipt. Behind me, Mom's knocking grows louder. Jenna, sweetheart, I know you're in there. We need to talk about these bill payments. I sit at my desk, hands poised over the keyboard. The truth stretches before me like a road leading away from their chaos. Each document I save lights another mile marker on my path to freedom. Jenna Morgan? My neighbor Susan's voice carries through the door. Should I call security? This woman says she's your mother, but she seems upset. I close my eyes, remembering last Thanksgiving, the locked bedroom door, the mothball couch, Dad's toast, the forged signature. Yes, I call back, my voice clear and carrying. Please call security. And can you witness a statement for me? I need to document this. Mom's protests fade as security arrives. I keep typing, adding another file to my truth folder. Tomorrow there will be tears and threats and guilt-soaked voicemails. Tomorrow they'll discover what happens when their backup plan develops boundaries. But today I build my case with keystroke after keystroke, document after document, the truth taking shape in ones and zeros, in highlighted bank statements and recorded conversations. My phone lights up one last time. Dad again. Family dinner. Tomorrow night, be there or else. I save the text message to my evidence folder. Then I open my calendar and create an event for tomorrow evening. The title reads, The Confrontation. Some dinners are worth documenting. Tomorrow, the leather strap of my laptop bag cuts into my shoulder as I stand at my parents' front door. Through the beveled glass, the dining room chandelier blazes like an interrogation lamp. For 4 years, that light has witnessed countless family dinners where I smiled and nodded while writing checks. Tonight, the light will witness something different. Mom opens the door with her Sunday smile, the one reserved for church potlucks and loan officers. Sweetheart, we were starting to worry. Her arms open for a hug I don't step into. Traffic. I adjust the folder under my arm, labeled Truth in block letters that match the steel in my spine. The house smells like pot roast and desperation. Mom bustles toward the kitchen, chattering about cooking my favorite meal. Pot roast hasn't been my favorite since I was 12, but she's never noticed. Lucas slouches at the dining room table, thumbs dancing across his phone screen, probably texting his friends about his personal ATM showing up for dinner. The car I pay for sits in the driveway behind mine, mud splattered across its hood from his weekend job hunting trips to the lake. Dad stands at the head of the table, master of ceremonies in his golf club polo. Princess, come give your old man a hug. I place my laptop bag on the table. The folder follows with a soft thud that makes Lucas flinch. Let's skip the performance tonight. My voice comes out steady, practiced from 100 rehearsals in my apartment mirror. I'm here to talk business. Mom's spoon clatters against the pot. Business? This is family dinner, honey. Let's eat first. No, the word slices through her nervous laughter. We talk now. Dad's charm curdles into something harder. Now listen here, young lady, we're having some family difficulties. Really? I unzip my laptop bag. Tell me more about these difficulties while I share some documentation. Documentation? Mom's laugh stretches thin. What an odd thing to bring to dinner. The HDMI cable snakes from my laptop to their television like a live wire. Lucas stares at his plate while Dad's knuckles whiten around his water glass. Mom flutters between the kitchen and dining room, a sparrow looking for escape. Before we continue, I say, clicking open the first file, I'd like to share some interesting reading material. The loan application fills the screen, my forged signature a cracked mirror of the real thing. Mom drops her serving spoon. There must be some mistake, Dad starts, but I hold up one finger. I'm not finished. Click. Instagram stories flood the screen. Lucas with his friends in my car, bottles of expensive whiskey on the hood. Best gift from my sister, reads the caption. The timestamp matches a week I worked 60 hours to cover an emergency transmission repair. Click. Text messages between my parents discuss maintenance fees and reasonable support expectations, like I'm an ATM they're planning to rob. Click. Bank statements highlight recreational spending sprees that coincide with their tearful calls about empty cupboards and overdue bills. Click. A voice recording plays mom's voice through the speakers. Pay your brother's tuition or you'll regret what happens to this family. Their faces transform as each piece of evidence lands. Dad's charm rots into rage. Mom's tears, always on command, look real for once. Lucas shrinks into his chair, phone forgotten. This is ridiculous, Dad sputters. You're taking everything out of context. The context is 4 years and $130,000. My finger hovers over the keyboard. Should I show the spreadsheet breakdown? You ungrateful little, Dad surges up, but I don't flinch. Careful, my voice could freeze hell. The next words out of your mouth might end up in a police report instead of just my records. Mom collapses into a chair. We're your family. How could you do this to us? Family? The laugh feels foreign in my throat. Family doesn't forge loan documents. Family doesn't mock birthday wishes. Family doesn't treat their daughter like an ATM. Lucas finds his voice, small and whining. Those Instagram posts were jokes. Everyone knew they were jokes. Funny. I pull up his private messages. Like this joke to your friends about your backup wallet? Or this one about working overtime being for suckers when you have a sister to milk? That's not what I meant. His eyes dart between our parents, searching for rescue. Of course it is. I close the laptop, but the jokes end tonight. Dad slams his hand on the table. Water glasses jump. You listen to me, young lady, after everything we've done for you. You mean everything I've done for you? I stand, shoulders straight. Let me outline the new reality. The money stops. All of it. The rent payments, car payments, phone bills, credit cards, I've already canceled everything. Mom wails. The sound bounces off family photos where my smile grows dimmer with each passing year. You can't, Lucas half rises. I need that car for interviews. Sell your whiskey collection. My gaze sweeps the table. I've documented every manipulation, every forged document, every threat. My lawyer has copies. Try to contact my workplace again, and they will go to the police. I withdraw a final document from the folder. The restraining order application sits untouched on the polished wood. This is a draft. Whether it becomes reality depends on you. My heart pounds victory drums against my ribs. Any future contact must begin with an acknowledgement of everything you've done. Until then, lose my number. You're making a mistake. Dad's voice drops to a growl. You'll regret this. No, I shoulder my laptop bag. I already regret not doing it sooner. Their voices tangle behind me as I walk to the door. Threats, tears, promises. They sound tinny and far away, like a radio losing signal. The night air tastes like freedom. Stars wink overhead as I slide into my car, hands steady on the wheel. In my rearview mirror, the dining room light spills across the lawn like a spotlight on an empty stage. The show is over. The truth has played its final scene. I drive away from the house that stopped being home the moment I learned to say no. Tomorrow they'll discover what happens when their backup plan develops a backbone. Tomorrow there will be tears and threats and guilt-soaked voicemails. But tonight? Tonight I drive toward a future where my worth isn't measured in dollar signs. Where my birthday cards won't come with price tags. Where the word family might someday mean something more than an invoice. The highway stretches ahead, dark and wide and full of possibility. I press the gas pedal and don't look back. At the present, the notification on my phone reads like a bomb threat. Lucas found my work email through LinkedIn. I forward his message to my growing evidence folder without opening it, my hands steady as stone, radio silence shattered by a digital temper tantrum. My new number rings. Unknown caller, Austin area code. The voicemail notification pops up seconds later. I delete it unheard, adding the number to my block list. Fourth one this week. The certified letter sits in my printer tray, crisp and official on law firm letterhead. My attorney's precise language outlines the consequences of continued contact: workplace harassment, social media defamation, attempted financial fraud. The words carry the weight of restraining orders waiting to be filed. I sign my name, still Jenna for now, in black ink that bleeds slightly at the edges. The pen scratches against paper like a key cutting new grooves. My signature looks foreign, a relic of who I used to be. My one-bedroom apartment in Portland holds none of the ghosts I left behind in Texas. The walls gleam fresh white, bare except for my IT certifications and a single framed photo from college graduation. Before Dad's heart attack, that turned out to be indigestion. Before I became the family ATM. The moving truck delivered only what sparked joy or served function. My grandmother's quilt, my laptop, professional clothes from my new remote position. The rest I donated or sold, including the SUV I'd paid off for Lucas. Let him explain that disappearance to his fraternity brothers. The next day, the name change paperwork waits in a manila envelope marked Priority, Elizabeth Morgan. My middle name, my mother's maiden name, twisted into something new. An identity for the fire of necessary endings. My phone buzzes again. A text from my new therapist confirming tomorrow's appointment. We'll discuss establishing the trust fund my financial advisor recommended. An iron wall between my assets and any future claims of family obligation. The social media notifications stack up like funeral cards. My mother's tearful Facebook Live broadcast about her unstable daughter who abandoned them. Lucas's Instagram story about toxic family members who air dirty laundry. Dad's LinkedIn post seeking prayer warriors for their prodigal daughter. I document each attempt, screenshots filed with timestamps, then close the apps. Their words hold no power here in my quiet sanctuary. The weight on my shoulders lifts with each passing day. The support group meets Thursdays in a church basement that smells of coffee and hope. Carol, silver-haired and spine straight as steel, shares about the son who drained her retirement fund. Michael describes the sister who forged his signature on loan applications. Their stories echo mine like a chorus of survival. The hardest part isn't leaving. Carol tells me after the group, her weathered hands squeezing mine. It's believing you deserve to stay gone. Her words follow me home, settling into my bones like truth. I curl up on my secondhand couch, wrapped in Grandma's quilt, and sleep without dreaming for the first time in years. The website launches on a Tuesday. Still standing. Resources for survivors of family financial abuse. The domain alone feels like revolution. I build it piece by piece between work calls, creating the resource library I wished I'd had. Warning signs, documentation guides, legal templates. The first client consultation arrives through the contact form. A woman my age, voice shaking as she describes her parents' escalating demands. I listen, taking notes. My own story a roadmap through her pain. Start with evidence, I tell her. Screenshots, bank records, text messages. Build your case like a lawyer. The truth is your armor. The words flow from a well of hard-won wisdom. Each consultation adds another brick to the foundation of my new life. My pain transforms into purpose, sharp edges smoothed by service. December arrives with frost on my windows and peace in my heart. The holiday decorations in my apartment reject tradition. No red and green, no familiar ornaments weighted with memory. I choose silver and white, clean colors for a clean slate. The Christmas cards from my parents return unopened, marked, Resident Unknown. Their carefully crafted guilt trips dead end at my old address. I light a candle, open a bottle of wine, and celebrate the quiet. My therapist calls it grieving the living. The family I lost lives on without me, but the versions of them I loved exist only in memory. I saved a handful of photos, my 5th birthday, Dad teaching me to ride a bike, Mom braiding my hair before prom. The rest I burn in my fireplace, watching the flames consume years of forced smiles and hidden pain. The smoke carries away the last traces of Jenna Morgan, dutiful daughter and eternal ATM. From these ashes rises Elizabeth, a phoenix with steel wings and clear eyes. The price of peace was everything I thought I couldn't live without. It turns out I can live without quite a lot. My new friends gather for a winter solstice dinner, bringing dishes and warmth to my small space. None of them knew me as Jenna. None of them carry expectations heavier than friendship. We talk and laugh, the conversation flowing like wine, no one keeping score or tallying debts. After they leave, I stand at my window watching snow dust the city. My reflection overlaps with the falling flakes, a double exposure of past and present. The woman in the glass looks older, stronger, more herself than the girl who once wrote monthly checks to keep peace. A notification lights up my phone, another survivor reaching out through the website. Tomorrow I'll answer her call, share my roadmap, and help her find her way to freedom. Tonight I simply breathe, counting blessings that cost nothing but courage. Sometimes the most expensive gift you can give yourself is the strength to walk away. The price of peace is everything that once felt essential. The reward is learn how little you truly need. I raise my wine glass to my reflection, to the woman I'm becoming, to the power of no, Merry Christmas to me, I whisper. The words ring true in my quiet apartment, a prayer answered by my own hands. Outside, the snow continues to fall, covering all tracks, marking everything clean and new. The black envelope stood out among the junk mail in her P.O. box. Elizabeth recognized her mother's handwriting instantly, the precise loops, the slight right slant. Her chest tightened, muscles contracting around her lungs until each breath required conscious effort. The security camera above the post office counter captured her moment of stillness, fingers hovering over the envelope like it might burn. She slipped it into her bag without opening it, between her laptop and the leather-bound journal where she tracked her progress. The drive home stretched longer than usual, traffic lights holding her hostage at every intersection while the envelope radiated presence from the passenger seat. Her apartment welcomed her with the scent of fresh coffee and lemon cleaner. Elizabeth placed the envelope on her kitchen table, centered it precisely between the salt and pepper shakers. The afternoon sun caught its edges, casting a shadow that seemed too large for such a small thing. 24 hours. That's how long she let it sit there. Through a client consultation about financial boundaries, through her evening yoga routine, through breakfast and lunch the next day. The envelope waited, patient as her mother never was. "What are your thoughts about opening it?" Dr. Martinez asked during their session the next day, her calm presence steady through the video call. Elizabeth adjusted her laptop screen. "Part of me wants to know if there's any acknowledgement, any real understanding. And the other part? Knows better." Elizabeth touched the small scar on her palm from the time she'd tried to catch a falling glass at one of her family's dinner arguments. "I've learned to trust the part that knows better." Her closest friend Margot called that evening, voice warm through the speaker. "Whatever you decide, I've got your back. Want me to come over?" "No," Elizabeth traced the edge of the envelope with her fingertip. "This needs to be just me." She set up her phone to record, propped it against a stack of books. The red light blinked steady as she sliced the envelope open with the silver letter opener from her new desk set. Her mother's familiar perfume wafted up, gardenias and manipulation. The letter unfolded with crisp precision, 3 pages of Patricia Morgan's attempts at mastery. Elizabeth read each line aloud, her voice growing steadier with each paragraph of accusations disguised as concern. "We know you've been spreading stories about us. Your father barely sleeps, thinking about how you betrayed us. Lucas had to drop out because you abandoned him. The neighbors ask what happened to you. We made mistakes, but you aired everything, you ruined us. Maybe one day you'll grow up." Elizabeth set the pages down. The sun had shifted, afternoon light painting different shadows across her kitchen table. She touched the small silver pendant at her throat, the one she'd bought herself to replace the gilt-weighted jewelry her mother used to give her. The envelope sat empty, mouth open like her mother's endless demands. Elizabeth picked up her favorite pen, the heavy one that wrote smooth as water. On the cream-colored front panel, she wrote 3 words in her clearest handwriting. "I already did." Her phone kept recording as she slipped the letter back inside, sealed it with a piece of clear tape, and wrote her parents' address in the center. No return address needed. They'd know who it was from. She documented everything, photographed the envelope, scanned the letter, saved the recording, each piece of evidence filed away in her growing digital archive labeled Truth. The post office closed in 20 minutes. Elizabeth grabbed her keys, then stopped. She looked around her apartment, really looked. The vintage travel posters she'd always wanted to hang. The soft blanket draped over her reading chair, the bookshelf filled with texts on financial independence and healing from family trauma. Her window overlooked the park where she took her Sunday walks now, uninterrupted by frantic calls about her brother's latest crisis. The small balcony held 3 thriving plants she'd finally learned she could keep things alive when no one was constantly demanding her water. A text notification lit up her phone. A client she'd helped document her own family's financial abuse. 6 months free. Thank you for showing me the way out. Elizabeth smiled, remembering the frightened woman who'd first reached out through her still-standing website. They'd built the evidence folder together, page by careful page. The post office will be open tomorrow. Tonight, she had a video call with her support group. 10 other survivors learned to guard their peace like the treasure it was. She slipped the envelope into her desk drawer, between her business license and the trademark application for her consulting practice logo. Through the neighborhood grapevine, she heard fragments of her family's unraveling. Lucas had lost the car when the payments stopped, but still blamed the dealership. Her father's golf membership lapsed. Her mother's kitchen renovation stood half-finished, cabinets gaping. The house she'd helped pay for listed for sale, priced well below market value. Elizabeth felt the echo of their chaos like a distant storm, watched it through bulletproof glass. Her compassion remained, but it no longer bled her dry. The sun set beyond her window, painting the sky in colors she'd never noticed when she was too busy managing her family's disasters. Her phone buzzed with another client message. Should I send the evidence to my whole family? Elizabeth typed her response, the words flowing from hard-won wisdom. Document everything, save it all, but send it only if it serves your freedom. Some people never acknowledge the truth, even when it's written in their own words. She looked at the drawer holding her mother's letter. Such a small thing to represent the end of such a long chapter, but sometimes the shortest responses carried the most power. She already did. 3 words to answer a lifetime of demands. 3 words to close the door on guilt and games. 3 words that meant, I grew up, I saw clearly, I chose myself. The evening settled around her like a warm shawl. Tomorrow she'd mail the letter. Tomorrow she'd help another client document their path to freedom. Tomorrow she'd continue building her life, brick by steady brick. But tonight she sat in her quiet kitchen, wrapped in hard-won peace, finally grown enough to know that some questions don't deserve answers. Some letters are best returned to sender. Some silences speak louder than words. She was no longer the girl who jumped at every family text, no longer the woman who drained her accounts to fill their bottomless needs. She'd grown into someone stronger. Someone who could look at her mother's familiar handwriting and feel nothing but calm certainty. 3 words. Sometimes that's all it takes to close a door, to end a chapter, to declare yourself grown. I already did. Period. Full stop. The end. 3 years later, the laptop screen bathes my office in a gentle glow as I adjust my webcam. Sarah's face appears in the Zoom window, her fingers twisting a tissue until it shreds. Just like I used to do. They're saying I'm ungrateful, she whispers. That a good daughter would never. Her voice cracks. I lean forward, letting my counseling certification catch the light behind me. Not for show, for proof that someone can rebuild from ashes. Sarah, when was the last time you felt truly safe around them? The question hangs between us. Her eyes widen, then fill with tears. It's the same realization I had 3 years ago in my old Austin apartment, staring at a birthday cake meant for one. I can't remember, she finally admits. I nod, reaching for my leather-bound notebook. Then let's start there. The morning unfolds in 45-minute increments. Between clients, I water the spider plant by my window, a gift from Marcus, who understands why I need to nurture something that thrives on minimal care. 6 months of dating, and he's never once questioned why I keep my finances separate or why I changed my name. At lunch, I reviewed the final draft of my guide. Documentation, the path to freedom. The publisher wanted something splashier, but flashy doesn't heal, truth does. My phone buzzes with a text from the community center. They've confirmed the space for next week's support group. 20 survivors gathered to share their stories. 20 people choose themselves. The afternoon client is new. Barbara's 72, her silver hair perfectly coiffed. She holds up a credit card statement with shaking hands. My Tommy, she says. My baby boy. He said it was just until his business took off. My chest tightens. I remember my own brother's promises, his laughter in the family group chat. Barbara, I say softly. You like to know what financial abuse looks like? She flinches at the word abuse. I did too once. By session's end, she's holding a folder labeled My Truth, the same system that freed me, refined by 3 years of helping others escape. The sun sets as I finish my case notes. Marcus texts about dinner. Your choice tonight. No pressure. 3 words that still make me smile. I pack up, straightening the wall of thank you cards. Not for decoration for the newly free who need to see possibility, a mother who reclaimed her retirement. A grandfather who stopped bankrolling his grandson's addictions. A sister who learned that love shouldn't cost her future. My key card beeps me out of the building. The evening air carries the scent of blooming jasmine. 3 years ago, I couldn't smell anything through the panic. Now each breath fills my lungs with certainty. The community center lights glow warmly as I pull into the parking lot. Inside, chairs form a circle. Some already hold nervous bodies, clutching folders and phones with recorded proof of their pain. I set my bag down, clip on my name tag. Elizabeth Morgan, still standing support group. Welcome, I say, meeting each pair of eyes. You're probably wondering if you're doing the right thing by being here. A younger woman nods, knuckles white around her purse strap. Let me tell you about my 30th birthday, I begin. About a cake I bought myself and a message that finally made me see the truth. They lean in, not because I'm special, because they recognize their own story in mine. Boundaries aren't walls, I tell them, watching hope spark in tired eyes. They're foundations, and tonight, we're going to help you build yours. Later, I stand at my apartment window. The city sparkles below, each light a story I'll never know. My reflection shows a woman I barely recognized from 3 years ago. Her shoulders rest easy. Her smile comes without calculation. My phone chimes, a text from today's new client. I did it. I showed them the evidence and walked away. My fingers tap out the reply I wish someone had sent me. The first day of your real life begins now. The words glow on my screen, a truth I had to learn alone, but others won't have to. Because sometimes walking away isn't cruel, it's courageous. You can love people and still say, this ends with me. Behind me, my dining table holds place settings for 8. Tomorrow night, my chosen family comes for dinner. No bank statements disguised as placemats. No price tag on belonging. Just people who love me not for what I give, but for who I am. I touch the window glass, cool and solid like the boundaries I've built. My phone lights up again. Another message from a client turned survivor. Thank you for showing me the way out. I smile, remembering the words I once returned to sender on my mother's envelope. I already did. Outside my window, the city keeps breathing. Inside, I'm finally home.